Hello. All right, let's break down the Chris Sale trade. So to start off, we're going to do a little bit of background about Mr. Chris Sale. Sale debuted in 2010 with the Chicago White Sox, and those two first seasons, he didn't exactly get a lot of playing time. But in 2012, that started his seven-time All-Star streak all the way up until the year of 2018. During that span of years, while accumulating seven All-Star game selections, Chris Sale also finished as high as ninth in the MVP voting, as well as runner-up in the 2017 Cy Young selection. Here's what I'm concerned about. Chris Sale in his career has a postseason ERA of 6.35. Along with that ERA, he has 47 strikeouts, all of this in 34 innings pitched. Now, that being said, ERA isn't the end all be all of stats, but you get up into the sixes with that much of playoff experience, there are a little bit of questions. In the 2018 World Series run with the Boston Red Sox, excuse me, Sale pitched 15 innings with a 27 strikeouts and a whip of 1.24. But since 2019, Chris Sale, as most of you know, has been injury riddled. In 2019, he went down with Tommy John surgery. That was in August of 2019, and he did not return until 2021. He pitched for the rest of that season, but in the spring, well, actually, before the spring training of 2022, he suffered a right rib stress fracture, and that sidelined him until July 12th. And the misfortune continues from that point on, as after that first start on July 12th versus the Rays, he went on to the Yankees and fractured his pinky finger while trying to field a comebacker. While he was on the injured list at this time, Sale fractured his right wrist and had to undergo surgery for a bicycle accident. Excuse me, not a fracture, a broken wrist. In 2023, more recently, he was sidelined for a stress reaction in his left scapula, obviously, his throwing arm. So your scapula is back here on the shoulder, so we all know that shoulders nowadays are a little bit more scary than elbows ever were. But that's what the Rays are going to be getting themselves into. He's a premier pitcher. His best years, I will say, are probably behind him. But he was touching 99 when he came back in September of this year. And overall, whenever he has pitched and he's been healthy, he's been pretty good. Now let's talk about what the Braves gave up. In 2022, Grissom came up from Double-A Mississippi to replace an injured Orlando Arcia. Grissom would make his MLB debut in Fenway against the Red Sox, where he would hit his first Major League home run over the Green Monster. Vaughn Grissom spent the most of 2023 coming up, I believe, one time in April to replace an injured Orlando Arcia with the Gwinnett Stripers. During that time, he slashed a .330 batting average, a .419 on-base percentage, along with a .501 slugging percentage, go along with a .920 OPS and a WRC plus of 135. Now, the value with Grissom is obviously that bat, but he's also under team control for 6 more years as he is still under rookie status in the MLB. And to top that off, he was labeled as a top 100 prospect this year. The Braves, along with a good bit of the prospect community, do believe that Grissom is going to hit, and he's not exactly going to be a masher. He's more going to be a double, triple kind of guy where he finds alleys. I'm not saying he can't. Fenway is definitely a much more of a friendly ballpark to his swing than it was in Atlanta. But the main problem that made sure that Grissom didn't stick in Atlanta was the defense. As many Braves fans know, he lost the job opportunity he was given in spring training in 2023 to Orlando Arcia. A lot of people agree that his ceiling is probably going to be at third base or second base, at which I would think second base would be definitely more comfortable to Vaughn, but he does possess the ability to play third base as he has played that before. Obviously, the Red Sox have Rafael Devers, but if they ever want to put him at DH, they now have still a very capable bat to put in his place at third base, along with pairing him with Trevor Story up the middle for playing second. Now, how does this affect the 2024 Atlanta Braves? Grissom was blocked, plain and simple. You had Ozzy Albies at second base. You had Orlando Arcia at shortstop, who he didn't beat in the starting job opportunity in 2023. And then you had Austin Riley at third base, and the Braves obviously didn't want to put him in left field. So where exactly is Vaughn Grissom going to play? Atlanta also needed a starter for the 2024 season and possibly the 2025 season because Sale does possess that club option at the end of his deal. So instead of going and getting Dylan Cease, which Dylan Cease commanded a very high ransom from the White Sox, I believe they wanted 3 or 4 top 100 prospects when the Reds asked about him. And the Braves certainly are not going to give up A.J. Smith-Shawver, Hurston Waldrop, Vaughn Grissom, and Darius Vines, I guess, would be the next highest, maybe Owen Murphy. The Braves are not going to do that. So you keep A.J. Smith-Shawver, you keep Hurston Waldrop, keep Darius Vines, but you do lose Vaughn Grissom, but the offense is going to be good next year. Vaughn Grissom, honestly, was not going to contribute to the team next year, realistically. because he was just going to sit on the bench. That was probably the only place Vaughn Grissom could play was going to be a platoon infield bench bat. And you're not going to platoon Orlando Arcia with Vaughn Grissom. That's just not going to happen. Now, I've seen online that many people are declaring this one a full out sweep for the Red Sox because they believe Chris Sale is completely washed and it was a stupid move by the Atlanta Braves. But here's the thing this is a 1 year deal, which Alex Anthopoulos loves doing with his pitchers. The Red Sox, in order to get Grissom to sweeten that deal, had to pay Chris Sale's nearly his entire salary in 2024. The Red Sox do that. They sent over $17 million, which should that helps along the way. So you're essentially getting a 1 year deal for a pitcher. And if Sale's good next year, you pick up his salary for next year and he plays for the squad. If he doesn't, you paid for him for nothing and you decline the club option. Now, on down the line, there is a deferred $10 million that the Braves will have to pay, but that's well into the future. And it's going to come across the accountant agent's desk one day and just be like, oh, I have to pay $10 million now? Great. Way to throw it into my budget, pal. Sale has a lot of questions. Those questions are going to be questions that have to be answered by the Atlanta Braves come spring training. But here's the way I see it. In Boston, Sale was going to be looked to be an ace. Here, he's asked to be a 3 or 4 guy. He's not going to be asked to pitch 200 innings. He's not going to be asked to pitch 180. He might just be asked to pitch maybe 120, 150 innings. This opens up the Braves' depth a lot because now you have Bryce Elder, you have Alan Winans, Hurston Waldrop, AJ Smith-Shawver, Darius Vines. You have all these depth pieces that can slot in every 5th day if you need a spot start for somebody. Basically, what this move ensures is that Bryce Elder is not going to be your 4 guy, and you're having 2 big question marks at the bottom of your rotation. For Boston, they get Vaughn Grissom, who I do believe is going to be a very solid major league player once he reaches his full potential. Overall, for the Braves, I would give this trade an A-. I think they got exactly what they were looking for. They didn't give up a lot in terms of what they were going to need for 2024. They get exactly what they wanted in a starter, albeit a little bit of a fixer-upper. But like I said, overall, A-. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully this year I'm going to have more consistent content, and I'm definitely going to look to do this format a lot more analytical stuff, less the TikTok sounds and jokes. You get what I mean. I'm also kicking around the idea of starting a YouTube channel for a lot more longer video ideas. So if you would like to see that, let me know in the comments. But I'm probably going to do it anyway. So just so you know, that's probably coming down the pipe at some point. I'll let you know when it does. Hopefully this year I'll be able to get you a little bit of cleaner content of what I do as my job is calling games and stuff like that, especially up at Piedmont. I did a little bit of that this year, and I did a little bit of that over the summer. So I'm definitely going to try to get you a lot more cleaner content as we move into baseball, softball, in the end. Well, not the end, but the conference season of basketball season. And I just like to say at the end, thank you so much for 2,000. That's a very big number to me. And hopefully as the year goes along, we do nothing but grow. So once again, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates.